Welcome back, everyone. We are here to completely ruin your brain and to make your life miserable because we have Rick Guerrera as our host.
Yeah, the most miserable one of them all.
And the second most miserable person is probably me, Greg Roten. Mm-hmm. And then we have the nicest person in the world, well, sort of, is Larry Ward as our other host for the Street Scene Power Hour. And we are blessed to have Bree Poland. She is from Royal Enfield Motorcycles, and we have Tad Jablonski, and I did get that right, so I didn't mess it up. You know, give me a round of applause because I didn't suck today. So he is from Mosquito Lake Dent Repair, so we got a lot to talk about. So, you know, Rick, we're going to start off with, Tad. I'm sorry. Start off with Tad. Rick.
You got the last name right, then ruin the first one. You got to redeem it now.
And I suck bad because I knew I was going to do that. So why don't you, Tad, why don't you just tell us about yourself, your business, and where you're located at?
All right. Well, first off, I'm out of Cortland, Ohio. And started Mosquito Lake Dent Repair about a year ago now. Before that, I was with Dent Wizard for almost 22 years. And then decided to kind of branch out onto my own. And, it's been going really good so far. It's a good transition so far. And, it's all been good. I kind of started in the body shop industry before I got into the paintless dent repair industry. Saw an opening in it and like the niche part of it that it is. Yeah. And one thing kind of led to another, and 22 years later, here I am.
That's a real art to do that, huh, Ted? It is. I've watched them numerous times on my cars and some of my customers' cars, and boy, I'll tell you what, it's just some of those dents are so huge. I said, I don't know if you're going to get this out. No problem. He gets his torches out, his tools out, and he gets his little screen out and his light, and then pops right out of there. I don't know how you do it.
Where I panic everyone is when I get the torch out and I start blow torching the side of the car. They start to get a little nervous.
Hey, so look at them. We're going to melt some paint. Hold on.
I can't fix it. I'll just burn it to the ground.
I blow torched the back of a car one day, a hatch on this Nissan. I was trying to get a sticker off of it. Didn't realize it was that plastic stuff, that the whole hatch. And I put a big, I melted it pretty good.
Did you get the sticker off?
Oh yeah, I got the sticker off.
Yeah, you melted that's the way to do it. Just take a sticker and just melt off the corner. Hey, you don't have a sticker anymore, but you don't have a deck lid either.
That was my goal, to get the sticker off.
Well, I tell you what, we've also got Bree Poland. She is from Royal Enfield Motorcycles. Hi, Bree. Tell us a little bit. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your business, how you got to where you're at now.
An English motorcycle.
By heritage, yeah. So a little bit about myself. I've been in the motorcycle industry for about 20 years. Started in the road racing paddock as a promo girl, and ended up owning my own race team for a couple of years. Won multiple championships with riders like Jake Lewis, Joey Pascarella. We've had Cameron Brobier that raced for my program when I had my program. So it was really good, but then road racing lost live TV coverage and it was really hard to find sponsors. So I transitioned into the OEM world, and I've been with Royal Enfield 7 years. For people that don't know Royal Enfield, which I know Larry knows Royal Enfield, but we are the oldest motorcycle company in continuous production since 1901. British by heritage, but we're now owned by a company called Eicher Motors outside in Chennai, India. And the office here is a subsidiary, so we're not a distributor. We're actually Royal Enfield, and we've been here in the market for 7 years now.
I was going to say 7 years. 1901 is quite a while. I mean, we don't realize how many brands there were around, and the ones that are really good, obviously, are still here, and that is one of them. And go ahead.
When I was growing up in the 70s, the Royal Enfield was pretty big. The Triumphs and the BSAs and all that. There was the Royal Enfield. I was surprised they're still making them now. You don't hear much about them.
Yeah, and
at least I don't
either. So they focused when the British company folded. The Indian factories kept producing motorcycles and really focused on the domestic Indian market for about 30 years. And then when Eicher Motors acquired Royal Enfield from Madras Motors, the CEO, Siddhartha Law, who's an amazing human being, decided he wanted to take the company global again, but there's a couple things they wanted to do and get right. One was opening up a new factory. And then Royal Enfield North America is the first wholly owned subsidiary outside of India. So we were established in 2015. Now we have 3 amazing factories in India. We also have our old one that still works on like custom projects and chroming. We have a full UK tech center in Bruntingham Thorpe. So we have about 300 employees that live and work outside of the UK. And then we also opened up a tech center and main headquarters in Chennai. So we've really seen a lot of growth over the last 5 to 10 years.
Royal Enfield, they street bikes, road bikes, dirt bikes? What are they? Are they a little bit everything?
We do not make dirt bikes. We do have an adventure segment, and currently we have the Himalayan, which is actually the best-selling motorcycle in the North American market. Larry knows about the Himalayan.
Yeah, Larry, why don't you jump in, Larry?
Sure. Yep. Well, yeah, and a couple of things that I'll tell you is that I met Bree literally maybe 7 years ago when we were at down in Daytona, and they were hosting events down there and stuff like that. And I continued to follow the progress of the Enfields because, I wasn't certain how good the bikes were or how long they were going to last or what kind of market share. That right there is an Interceptor. But if you flip a couple more, Greg, I wanted to show what she was talking about, the Himalayan right there.
Is that it?
And
okay.
And by the way, this comes from the magazine. I spent $25 to buy this magazine, and it was one of the.
Your checks in the mail, right? Or your checks in the mail.
It was one of the best magazines that detailed from timeline to timeline the beginning of Royal Enfield, how they treated their employees, what their development was, all the way until the modern day with Lau and what he's doing with the company now. But one thing I'll point out about the bikes is that they are, in comparison to a lot of things, inexpensive, but they are not cheap. And
what is that bike?
That's a big difference because they're well built. That's the new Meteor, the new 350 Meteor.
I like
about
that.
The different models.
I'm not a big bike guy, but
yeah,
that is.
But
how much are
that
those?
would be the thing that I would point out, and I'd also say that Motozilli, which is our local Triumph Yamaha dealer, is also a long-term Royal Enfield dealer and one of the best dealers in the United States, right up here in Warren, Ohio. Motozilli.
I want that bike.
Oh yeah, it's they're nice.
About that. I'm actually sitting at Locomotion Power Sports in Mahwah, New Jersey, in the dealer principal's office. So I mean, he knows Jim over at Motozilli, but he'll beg to differ on he's the best dealer out there.
Hey, that Himalayan, what style bike was that? Is that a road bike?
You can ride on road. It's like on-road, off-road. We call it an adventure bike. A lot of people call it a dual sport. So it does have, capabilities.
Off-road capabilities, yeah. Okay.
Looks pretty simple. I mean, in the design in that. So it'd probably be real dependable.
That is the lure of the bike, is that it's dependable and then it's simplistic. The toolkit that you get with it, you can set the valves, remove the wheels, change the chain. You probably, if you really wanted to, I've removed the gas tank, set the valves, stuff like that, just from that toolkit, just because I wanted to get familiar with that toolkit. And I augmented it when I went to Daytona with the bike, but very simple, very easy. And it kind of makes you smile because it's the way motorcycles were, both in appearance and ease of work and workmanship's good. And that's the current odor right there. And Bree, you might want to talk about him a little bit. He's done great things with this company.
He is. He's the one, when his family, the Law family, acquired Royal Enfield, Sid's dad basically said, you're CEO now, managing director, you could choose what you want to do with Royal Enfield. And he saw a lot of opportunity to truly make it a global brand like it was back in the 50s and 60s. And it took a while. Sid's no longer CEO. He is on the board. Yesterday, they announced that BGR, who was our chief commercial officer or chief operating officer, is now CEO. He's done a great job at manufacturing, running all of our factories and really bringing us to the modern world. So he was appointed, I think it was yesterday or the day before. So we got the official thing. BGR has been great. He's been with the company for a really long time. Sid is, I would say, the face of the brand. He's probably the most accessible CEO that I've ever had the opportunity to work with. He takes part in the brand, in the strategy and the product development and everything behind that. So Sid's still extremely hands-on, even though he's no longer the CEO.
I think the one thing that I would point out, and it kind of circles back to what Bree said about updating and upgrading the manufacturing process. I followed them early on when they had what we call the iron head or iron barrels. And they looked a little bit cobbled together, but they were built in India. They were built for dependability. And, they didn't have to be show. But I'll tell you what, Bullet, if you don't say Royal Enfield in India, you say Bullet. And that is the brand. That's what everybody aspires to. Like I used to say, hey, I want to have a Cadillac or a BMW. Well, in India, you want a Bullet. But I can tell you that the quality, the manufacturing, the build quality is exceptional. And you get a tremendous amount of value for the dollar that you're spending. Yeah, I will say that.
We're selling, around 1 million motorcycles a year. Now, granted,
wow, that's
90% of it is in the domestic India market.
You got 4 billion people there.
Yeah, it's like 1.4 billion.
1.4, okay.
But outside of India, the U.S. is actually the highest selling market for Royal Enfields for the last 2 years. So I think we're doing something good. I think the American audience is very critical. They want a good product. They want a quality product. They want to be able to utilize it as they want to. So I think that has really helped us. Customers like Larry and everybody else out there that have that good relationship with Royal Enfield are really helping us grow in this market. So thanks.
Have you been to India? Have you been to the factory there?
Yeah, I love it. I love riding there. If you can ride in India, you can ride anywhere in the world.
Wow.
The traffic. The traffic.
I was going to say what you mean by that. Yeah. All those people.
It's scary.
Now and one of the things I would encourage anybody, I went to Barnes and Noble and picked up the magazine, and I was like, geez, do I want to spend $25 for a magazine? But
oh, come on, Larry. Geez, anything for the show.
Well, yeah, after that big pay raise, you took it away from Rick, and then I got it. Thanks, Rick.
Rick doesn't get paid.
Yeah. But here's the nice thing about it is that it details chronologically a whole timeline from the very early 1900s, from the various factories. They still have one of the factories where they test and build and do things in the UK, and it's in a tunnel, an underground tunnel. Okay.
Well, we don't have that anymore. No.
Oh, no tunnel?
No, that's the old Redditch factory, the last one that produced the last crop of Interceptors.
What, back in 1905 when Larry was riding bikes still? Or?
No, the factory closed around.
You ain't smiling over that one.
Yeah.
I thought they still had that one thing in the tunnel where they were doing some design work in the UK or something. But
no,
maybe
we
not.
have a tech center. It's on Brunningthorpe, so it's an old military air base. And we built from the ground up an amazing tech center.
The thing I liked about the history is how well people were treated when you work for Royal Enfield, that you truly were like a family. And so when this thing finally did close down, it just was like the end of an era that we probably won't see in major manufacturing anymore because it's a job, that kind of thing. But I think the thing I like about the Royal Enfield is that they're cultivating younger riders with the types of models as they're maintaining with guys like me. But unlike some of the other brands, I mean, they're bringing out a 350 Meteor. They got some other bikes, and I think it helps. And especially with the gas the way it is now, you're getting a lot of younger people involved in a brand that they may not have thought about before.
Yeah, I mean, we're accessible, we're approachable, we're not intimidating, and our focus is the middleweight segment. So I don't think you're going to see us stray from that. And our intention is to be the global leader in the middleweight segment.
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead, Larry.
I wanted to find out a little bit about the program because I was talking to Melissa Paris and Josh Hayes. We had Josh on the show a couple weeks ago, and I was thinking about some of the programs because she runs a race team as well. But let's talk a little bit about what Royal Enfield is doing with the female segment of the market as far as on-road road racing.
Well, we have on-road and we'll have road racing and flat track. So around 3.5 years ago, the head of Global Customs and I were having a conversation, and obviously I'm a woman, so I always like to do programs to highlight and empower women to get on two wheels. And he said, well, what do you want to do in the US? And I said, well, I want to do something that no other manufacturer has done. We can have brand ambassadors, we can give women bikes, but I want to empower them to be able to be independent and live out their dreams. So we came up with a program called Build, Train, Race. The first year in 2019, when we announced it, I handpicked 4 females to kind of give it a go, and I worked with American Flat Track. And I said I want to do, a flat track program that would run alongside the Premier Flat Track Championship. So Melissa Paris, who's one of my best friends of 20 years, she participated in the first year, and then we had 3 other riders, and we coached them and mentored them how to build a flat track bike, what to do, and taking a stock bike, tearing it all the way down, building it back up. We identified sponsors such as S&S, Maxima, Dunlop, that committed parts and allowances to the program. And then we trained them with Johnny Lewis, who's our pro factory rider in the twins production class in American Flat Track. Did kind of a lot of trainings. COVID happened, kind of messed up the race schedule a little bit, but a lot of people were really excited. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to expand the program for 2021. And I also launched the road race program. So I had 9 women that raced for us in flat track last year that built and maintained their bikes, trained, and then raced with American Flat Track. And then we did the road racing series, and we raced alongside Moto America, which is the premier road racing championship. I hired Melissa to be the mentor for the program. So she goes through and does all the design with the ladies. She does on-track coaching, off-track coaching with them. And so we had 7 riders in 3 rounds last year. This year, I decided to go even bigger. We signed a title sponsor, Parts Unlimited, to really step up. I think they've committed to about $500,000 in parts and supplies and support. Kept the old sponsors, S&S, Dunlop, Arai. So I have 15 riders in flat track this year and 15 in road racing. So we have 30 women racing for us.
This is a separate class, and the women are all
they all race against each other.
They're not racing with the guys.
No, so this is so we partner with the series to have our own class. So it's the Build, Train, Race road race class, and then the Build, Train, Race flat track class. So they race against each other.
I commend you guys for doing that.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. But it's a lot dealing with 15 women on one side and 15 women on the other side. So I actually just brought on a race team manager for the road race side because it's a lot of work. And she's an ex-racer. Her name's Ann Roberts. And she's already providing tons of value, and she's only been with us for 2 weeks. So I'm excited.
All right. Hang in there, Bree. We got some more coming from you. But I have one question for Tad is, for people that are actually restoring their Royal Enfield bikes or Harleys or anything like that, can you get dents out of gas tanks and stuff like that? Okay.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. We do the tanks, the fenders. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I want to touch on this. He's Tad's with Mosquito Lake Dent Repair. And the price, again, I do quite a bit of car body work and paint myself, and the prices are disgusting. If you get a scratch, you're going to have to paint a quarter panel or you get a dent. People, you got to get a quarter panel on your car redone. Jeez. Now there's a more cost effective solution, and Tad is the one to do it. So, Tad, go into a little bit about your business of what you can do.
I can kind of do a lot of stuff. I mean, it goes anything from, a little door ding that you would get in a parking lot to hail damage to, 2-foot long dents in a door or something. We can kind of get into a little bit of everything. Even if the paint is damaged, we can, I can repair the dent back to, back to original, but then you can just always brush touch it or something like that. If you wanted to avoid repainting your panel, because ultimately, I mean, nobody really wants to have their car repainted. So, I'll do anything that I can to try to help avoid that. I mean, plus the nice thing is it keeps your value up. You don't have to worry about the value diminishing by having it repainted. And, Carfax, I don't link anything to Carfax, so it doesn't hurt anything on your Carfax report getting paintless dent repair done. And it's just a better repair, if you can get it out without having to have your, factory paint ground off and filler put in it and everything. So
you're just susceptible to get the rust more than anything. Even if you get it painted and professionally redone, it's still not the same, than your factory color and your factory paint. Right.
Exactly. So yeah, if you can avoid having your car painted, then why not? You don't have to drop it off the body shop for a week or whatever it is, waiting for parts and everything else. It's generally everything I do is within an hour or so.
Wow.
It's a lot cheaper too, right?
Going right there. It took me about an hour and a half to do that fender.
For you podcast people, we're looking at, it's basically a Hemi Challenger.
Yep.
And the fender on this thing, it's got a body line down the side, and it's got 1, 2, 3 big dents in the side. It looks like somebody hit it with their head or they got frustrated. He lost a race and he beat his head on the fender or something.
That one turned out to be an angry X.
Oh, I knew it was somebody hitting something on their head.
I was going to say that.
That's what it looked like. I don't know how I know that. Oh yeah, never mind. Anyway, go ahead.
Angry X. That's a good one.
The result, we're looking at 3 huge dents on the side of this fender, and you got them all out, and you can't tell.
No, you'd never know they were there.
That's amazing.
Never know they were there. And like I said, it was about an hour and a half. And what you do was, we work it out from the backside most of the time. We have a bunch of specialized tools that we, on that one, I could take out the inner fender liner, the plastic liner, and get right behind all of the damage on that fender. And just kind of slowly work it out and kind of blend everything back to the way it should be.
Now, if you're going to get they probably put a crappy aftermarket fender on it. If you took it to a body shop, because they say, it's not even worth fixing. And then you get it painted and you're looking at how much? $2,000, $2,500.
Right. And then
ballpark
you're going to have to blend the door and everything else.
Then you're going to hope it fits too. Yeah.
So I'm not, ballpark figure. You don't have to give an exact figure, but what is the ballpark?
On that one, I don't remember what that one was. I'm going to say something in that vicinity. Might have been upwards of, maybe $800 for that fender.
Oh, you're looking at a third of the price or a quarter of the price.
Right.
That's amazing, for that.
Yeah. And like I said, it doesn't count against you. It's back to original. Nothing was ever really changed. So you don't have to worry about any issues down the line because it's still your factory paint.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was amazed one time. You did my CTS Cadillac. I'd come over to my girlfriend's house. She had these big oak trees there, and the nuts fell off the tree. And I had 7 dents on my top.
Oh, that's right. You're dating someone, so those did fall off, right?
Yeah. And then Tad come over to the house and everything. I said, I'm going to go eat lunch. I'll come back when when I'm done. And no sooner. 10 minutes later, he's done. He has all these dents popped out of it. And I go, what the heck, Dad? Yeah.
And that's another nice thing too, is it's if you have a dent or something, I can come right to you, that way you don't have to worry about inconveniencing of dropping it off at a shop or getting a rental or anything. I can work around your schedule. I can come to your house. Sometimes I can come to where you work. And
how far do you go?
I'm generally within like a half hour, 40-minute radius around Portland, Ohio. So,
you go into Pennsylvania and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I get into PA. Yep. Absolutely. So yeah, I try to keep it kind of a small radius. So I'm not running all over the place, but if somebody wanted to come farther, they can come to me, so, I mean, like if you're farther away, by all means, we can still make it work. And as far as like the motorcycle tanks and stuff like that, we can even have that shipped to me, and I can fix the dent, ship it right back to you if that was an issue too. That way, it saves you a little effort. Or if you're too far away, you can't find anybody else to fix it. We could go that route. But
I got to bring up a point. If if you're got even a classic car that you've got original paint on, like I said, my Ford is a perfect example. It's a 68. It's got original paint on most of it, but I've got a couple dents that I obviously don't want to get painted. I don't want to paint the car because the paint's in good shape. And you're probably going to be the one I'm calling because I've been meaning to get them out. But even if you have a fender that's, you can't get an aftermarket fender for an oddball car, and you've got it where you don't want to mess up the paint. There you go. There's your answer.
Absolutely. Yeah, nobody wants to have, especially the classic cars too. Yeah, nobody wants to have any of those things repainted. I mean, a lot of them have the custom paint jobs on them and everything that are not easy to blend, not easy to match. And even the orange peel, trying to get everything to match perfectly the way you want it. It's just, paintless dent repair is definitely the way to go.
Do you have any problem with older paints? Like say somebody has a 1970 car, it's all original. They got dents in it. You can knock those out without messing up the paint?
Absolutely. I just have to take a little more patience and care into it. I heat the metal up a little more, heat the paint up a little more, I should say, just to make sure it doesn't want to crack. So that way, it keeps everything a little more pliable and it's not a problem with the older ones either.
Now what about, there's got to be a fine line of what you can't repair. And what is that fine line?
Honestly, when you start getting into some of the bigger damage, like I said, I can still do it if the paint's cracked. That's not an issue. But when you start getting into some of the big stuff, you run through an insurance company, or if they want to go that route, if they have a low deductible or whatever, it's some of it'll start getting, if you have like that door on that van you guys showed, it was like a 3-foot dent in that thing. And some of those ones get to the point where is it cost effective, especially for an insurance side of it. Obviously the insurance companies will rather try to go the cheapest route they can, so sometimes it'll get to be more cost effective to replace a fender or something like that instead of, trying to do PDR, but we try to push for it all the time, that way, the customer just ends up with a better final product.
I remember one car you couldn't get the dent out. It was a Saab convertible, and there was a cross member underneath there, and you couldn't get your tools under there.
Right.
And you couldn't get it in.
And 99% of the time I'll find a way in there, or, we have a lot of different glues, different techniques we can use from the outside as well. The glues on the outside, though, are the only downfall of those are the simple fact that if you have a repaint, you're ultimately trying to pull the dent out by the adhesion of the paint, so I try to avoid, if there's a panel that's been repainted, I can tell it's been repainted. I'll a lot of times try to avoid doing the glue pulling just because there's a really good chance it's going to rip that paint off of it because it wasn't the factory finish.
Like a body filler, wouldn't that come out?
Right. Yeah, it would just pull a chunk right off. Yep. So 9 times out of 10, I want to try to find a way to get behind it to get the damage out, so I don't have any concerns of anything going south on me.
That's amazing how strong that paint is onto the body.
It really is. It's pretty impressive, especially all the new paints. Yeah, they're crazy strong. And I mean, when you think about it, some of these dents, I mean, they get slammed in there, and the paint doesn't even crack. It's pretty impressive how flexible the new paints really are.
Now you want to get back to paints that were I hope you don't have to deal with was the late 80s, early 90s GM and Ford when they started peeling the clear coat off. And Rick, you remember this? There was a guy, had a graphic artist at WKBN. He had a Beretta. It was an 88. We'd go out and peel sheets off his car. He'd get so mad at us when we just peeled the paint of the clear coat off because it wouldn't adhere to the base coat.
Like they got sunburnt and your skin's peeling off.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I hope you never have to deal. Well, now, what would you do if you had something to come in like that? It's like, I don't know if I can get the dent out without.
I can fix the dent, but half the paint's missing already. So
yeah, who cares? Just take a hammer to it or a mallet. Who cares at that point? Bree, we're gonna get. You know what, Larry? We're gonna hang on there, Tad. We're gonna get back to you. We want to get back to Bree and Larry. Larry, you got some more stuff for Bree to talk about.
Well, yeah, I would like to ask Bree. I know she's in New Jersey or somewhere. We're leaving New Jersey and going to VIR. But tell us a little bit about the schedule for the next couple of months so that if anybody that is a fan or wants to learn more, can stop out and see what you guys are doing?
So we're relaunching the Royal Enfield demo tour. So we did it successfully when we launched the Twins. You can head over to royalenfieldna.com, click on events. My event team is going to be out there. They actually have an event this weekend in Wisconsin at Tytler Cycles. It's on Saturday. Then obviously the race team is going to be in VIR all weekend in Alton, Virginia. There's something going on, honestly, every weekend, Larry. We're all over the place. We even have demos during the week. We actually have a demo coming up on June 8th at MotoZilly. So you should come on by and bug my team with that. I'll be there helping them.
There. You going to walk, Larry? Or I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I have to get these digs in once in a while, Larry. Larry had a little mishap on his motorcycle last.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's been a long time since I've had a little get off or fall on a bike, but I count myself pretty lucky. It's okay.
Go ahead, Bree. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just had to, every time I get a chance to dig at Larry and Rick, I get a chance to, because I know that they don't have enough guts to rip on me, right? I see. I told you there was no comments there. Yeah. Uh-huh. Anyway, go ahead, Bree.
No, I mean, we've literally until probably the end of November have something going on every weekend or even in the middle of the week. So whether it's racing, whether it's demo events, whether it's being at AMA Vintage Days, we'll be there again this year as the presenting sponsor. We're everywhere. I think the Midwest and the central regions really are going to get their fill of us this year.
Well, the good news is, so in June, you'll be up at MotoZilly, and in July, you'll be at Mid-Ohio.
Yeah. So June 8th, MotoZilly.
Mid-Ohio. That's right around the corner. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's a nice race course.
What is the date for Mid-Ohio again?
The AMA Vintage Days, it's in July. I don't know the date. I won't be there for that. I'll actually be in one of the other markets that I oversee.
Out of all the years you've done this, and since you're associated with Royal Enfield, is there one bike that you've come across that stands out the most to you?
Well, I'm the global brand manager for the Continental GT. So if I said something different, shame on me.
Wait a minute. You can tell us. We won't tell anybody.
It's the Cafe Racer that we have in our lineup. It's a 650 parallel twin. I love it. It makes me feel sporty. It's sleek looking. I love a motorcycle that makes me feel like a badass. That is the one that we have in our lineup. But I also have an old classic that I love to ride around Milwaukee with. I have 3 Himalayans. I beat the heck out of them. I really do drink the Royal Enfield Kool-Aid. I chose to be with this brand because I'm passionate about it. So it's not just a job. I think if anyone follows me, they know that Royal Enfield's kind of become my life. Maybe an unhealthy addiction, but
hey, we've all got to have those unhealthy addictions. That's what makes us human. So
when you look back on when you first began to now, what would be something that you'd point out that was like an aha moment that made you feel like, hey, we are propelling forward now on solid ground? We're not just a bouquet brand, but we're actually getting into the mainstream.
When I see a Royal Enfield riding on the road that you would never, it took a couple years to actually see them when we were out and about. I was just on a road trip from Missouri to Oregon to Washington State, then back to Milwaukee, all within like 6 days. And I couldn't count on my fingers and toes how many Royal Enfields I saw, which that means something, especially when you're driving in the middle of nowhere and you see a Royal Enfield. That makes you feel like, okay, we're actually doing something and we're out there in the market now. You can look at sales numbers, but when you don't see the motorcycles out there, you're not as pumped. So every time I see one now, I'm like, wow, it's not like a month that goes by. Like I saw so many on that drive that it was amazing.
How many bikes does Royal Enfield put out every year?
So we produce and sell about 1 million.
About a million a year. Wow.
Yeah.
I got a quick question. I know there for a while, and Larry can confirm this more than me. This is from me hearing this, was Harley was really hurting at one point. Now, that affect the Royal Enfield at all? Or, there's a time when the American market was just the motorcycle, motorcycle sales were getting pounded. And
so technically the market's still on a decline in decline, and we're slowly building back up. I think the days of people buying one expensive motorcycle is over. I think COVID woke a lot of people up. They want multiple hobbies. They want to be able to have an off-road bike. They want to be able to go canoeing. They want to be able to rent a camper. So I think the brands that have positioned themselves in the very accessible price range, you'll see more of an uptick in sales, because you don't know what tomorrow's going to hold. Do you want to spend $40,000 on a motorcycle, or do you want to buy a $7,000 motorcycle and, restore your house or pay for your child to go to university? I think motorcycling has to be more accessible to everybody in order for it to grow and succeed. And I think a lot of brands are catching on to it, but we've always been there. So we did very well during COVID, or the last 2 years of COVID. Oh, yeah. It's because it's not scary to buy a motorcycle. I also think that we've aligned with really great dealers that get motorcyclists, and it's not pushing a sale for the sake of pushing a sale. It's more about bringing someone to the family and making them included. And I think, Larry mentioned that with Jim, our dealer, and the dealer I'm sitting with today. They truly believe in the brand, and it's not just a sales pitch for them. It's not just, I sold another bike today. It's living that motorcycle way of life. And the thing is we're not getting a lot of new riders out there as a whole. So I think the industry has to work together and not against each other, and be more inclusive, and not the old boys club or the bad boys club. I think, you need to shake hands with whatever OEM neighbor you have. You need to, when you have events, work together, because we need to do that in order to get more people on two wheels.
Sure. Even the car business is like that too, like the classic cars and all that,
That was one of my questions. Have you seen an influx of young riders? But I think you just answered that. Are you getting a lot of younger riders in, or is it just still that demographic that, the older demographic that wants the motorcycles? Well, I stumped her. I'm so glad I got a good question.
There's a lot of companies that are coming out with like electric bicycles, or Stasic is focusing on bringing more people on two wheels, and that is going to help us at some point. When companies stop making little dirt bikes, they stop creating future riders.
I never thought of that. That is true. I never really thought of that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that hurt the industry for a long time.
Wow.
That's where I started on a little dirt bike. Yeah,
me too. I mean, we all have.
And you become a rider through that. Yeah. You might take a couple years break, but if you are introduced to motorcycles at a young age, there's a good chance you'll return or stay. I was introduced to motorcycles at 6 months, and I don't know what my life would be without it.
6 months?
Well, my dad put me on his motorcycle.
There you go.
Sit on his tank.
I was going to say, you're really advanced for 6 months riding a bike,
I wasn't riding. I was introduced to motorcycles.
Okay.
And I think maybe some of the generation, and even my generation, we like to parent our kids a lot and protect them and shade them from things that we think maybe be dangerous. But everything's dangerous. Walking outside this door of this dealership could be dangerous. So I think that teaching responsible riding and educating and informing people as early as you can. We also do the Build Moto program, which is a STEM program, a STEM-based program in Milwaukee. So we're trying to, because we don't make dirt bikes and we don't make small bikes, right? So it's another way to introduce youth into motorcycling is get them while they're in school. So we donate motorcycles, we donate funds and parts to 20 high schools in Milwaukee, and the children have to build motorcycles, tear them down, do social media. So it's not just like the building aspect, but it's teaching them how to be leaders and teaching them about technical habits. Build Moto's been around for about 13 years, but we've been the title sponsor for that for about 2 or 3 years. But we're trying to do our part in the small ways to introduce younger audience to the world of motorcycling. And it might not be as a rider, it might be as a mechanic or a technician, but the more people that are exposed to it, the more amped they are to talk about it or to become a rider at some point.
Well, how can people get a hold of you? Let's get some information if they want to look up the Royal Enfield, your brand, their product.
RoyalEnfield.com, buddy.
There you go. See,
plain and simple. Yeah. Hey, Bree, what are we talking price range on the infield? What's the top
right now,
line?
we're in between $4,000 and $7,000.
That's huge. That's a bargain. How can't you want one of those? I mean, I just can't I'm blown away because I don't, again, I'm not into the motorcycles as much as, Rick and Larry, and I'm learning a lot, but that just seems like there's a no-brainer there.
Yeah, really.
I mean, you can buy one on a credit card. You don't have to take out a second mortgage. And I think that's one of the things that we want to talk about and be about is making motorcycling accessible. You don't want to worry about having to make a $700 payment every month on a motorcycle. You want to be able to either pay it off right away, pay it in cash, or have some kind of ease of mind, and making it affordable is one of those things.
And you can work on them. That's the point. That's the point.
I mean, again, I'm sitting at a dealership, so obviously dealers make a lot of money from service. So
you have to go get it serviced.
That's where it's
go get it serviced at Locomotion in Mahwah, New Jersey.
No, you heard that. So that's you have to ship them off there. What's your shipping address?
I'll get it to you. You can also go to Locomotion, powersports.com, and or go to motozilly.com, since those are the two dealers we keep talking about today.
Those are the two dealers today. So
but we have a great crop of dealers. I think a lot of the dealers that have come on board with us truly appreciate and understand the brand. And I think, the ones that we've been bringing on the last 5 years, and even just recently, they want to sell Royal Enfield and they want to see Royal Enfield successful. So it's not just, again, we're a family. We're a quirky family. Our dealers are part of that mix.
Now, Tad, I've got to go back to you. I know you said you worked with the Dent Wizard for 20, how many years?
20 yeah.
Plus years, yeah.
He started when he was 10 years old,
that's got it. I've only gotten 2 dent repairs, and I'm just amazed you get these, the bars and you're bending and stuff.
Right.
You ever have that oh my God moment when you started bending something back and it was like, oh my God, I really,
the scariest part we usually have. So like if you're doing the doors, doing a side panel, generally what we do for a door is we roll down a window and we put a bar down through between the glass and the outer skin. And, we pry off of glass pretty much all day, you know, and once in a while you'll have that fluke one where you'll just have an explosion of glass. But I think I'll break maybe one a year. Yeah. So I mean, it's not many. I mean, it's a pretty slim chance, but there is that chance.
Now you have to pay for it now, not the Dent Wizard, right?
Right. Exactly. I'll be a little more careful now.
Yeah.
That's.
Hey, Tad, do you guys do any chrome bumpers or anything like that?
I don't do anything with the chrome bumpers. No, the metal is just so thick.
I was going to say that's
even on the new trucks. They seem like they're thinner than what they used to be.
Yeah.
But they're still pretty stout.
Get some of those cheap aftermarket bumpers. I would say I bought a set when I was restoring my V-Dub. I got a set of, they're great. They're a great price. They were as thin as body panels. Bumpers. I'm like, you could take them and just bend them. I'm like, I had to go get different ones.
Yeah, that's
like these are really bad. So I guarantee you can get dents out of those.
Is there anybody out there that does bumpers?
I don't know of anybody that does.
Okay.
That's one to get the hot torch out on.
It's kind of a dying thing because everybody now just replace them.
It's too expensive to get them re-chromed.
Right.
Yeah.
It's way too expensive to get them repaired.
Right. That's why
it
you
is.
have stuff. Yeah. They toss them and order a new one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's so basically, where can people get a hold of you to look up dent repair, and if they're interested in
they can go. My website's Mosquito Lake PDR, as in paintless dent repair, mosquitolakepdr.com. They can hop on there. They can give me a call. It's 234-806-6878, and that'll get right to my cell. And then we can kind of line up something from there.
Hey, Ted,
go ahead.
Hey, Ted, I was thinking of those rear bumpers on cars. Okay, the ones that get pushed in. What are they made out of? Composite or something? I don't know.
They're the plastics. Yeah, I do those all the time.
You can knock
you do
those
plastic too.
I do the plastic if they're dented. Yeah, I don't do them anything if they're cracked or anything like that. But if they're dented, absolutely. I do. I did one today, actually, a front bumper on I think it was a CRV maybe, no, it was a Nissan Rogue.
Mm-hmm.
The front bumper was all smashed in like a basketball size on the front corner, But yeah, we can work those out as well. No problem.
Turned out good then, huh?
Yeah, it turned out great.
I'm amazed at that because I didn't know that because usually when you dent those in and you pop them back out, there's always a swell mark around that. So I'm shocked to hear that. I thought, oh man, you got a swell mark. You're done with those things.
No, I will heat them and work them until I get that swell mark right back down and get everything blended out the way it should be.
Wow. That's good.
I have a quick question. I have a question. A lot of times you don't get a nice concave dent. Sometimes you get a crease. Is there anything you can do with a crease?
Oh, absolutely. Creases on wherever. Yeah, body lines, you get the chops through the body lines. All that is definitely repairable.
That's amazing.
Sometimes I'll do 5 foot down the side of the car. And it's still doable.
Tad's amazing. I'll tell you, some of the work I've seen him do. And a buddy of mine had the GMC truck, and he had the door open and somebody whacked into it. He must have put a dent in it the size of a basketball.
It was. He bent the whole door frame of the edge back and everything.
Jeez. And he worked a couple hours. He got it looking good.
So this is for all the parents out there. When your son or daughter is real young and they throw that dang baseball and they dent your car, you don't have to yell at them as much because it's going to cost a lot less.
I promote it. Throw all the baseballs you want.
And golf balls.
That's good business.
Shop security. Throw all the balls you want at the cars.
I was going to say that those creases have to be hard because I know doing body work. I just painted a fender for a buddy of mine. And I spent a week trying to get body work, filler, trying to get the dents out. And, basically I'm getting a sandbag and a mallet and, pounding the dents out. So, and then it's still not right. I'm just amazed at how that can be done. So
on the dents, the creases, they're all kind of the same. I mean, the creases, I literally have to work down the crease, literally down to like every last little millimeter, at a time, just slowly work all the way down. So or else you get, a lot of pokes in it and everything else that makes it look horrible. And you'll see, our industry is no different than anything else. You have good technicians and you have bad technicians. And I run into a lot of bad repairs from technicians. It looks like somebody took a screwdriver back there and just started stabbing the back of the panel. And it just makes a mess. It makes an absolute mess. So, ultimately when you're getting a guy to do PDR, your end result is you don't want to know it was ever there. That's the whole point of it. So, make sure you find somebody that can do that.
And, I think what makes a really good thing is you mentioned that there's no involvement with Carfax. I had a Mustang that got hit in a parking lot. Wasn't my fault. And yet it showed up on the Carfax.
And now you take a beat because of it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Some people are a little leery. A car dealer doesn't want to hear it, Right. If you trade it in, he says, hey, I don't want the car. It's been hit,
Absolutely. Yeah. Go into a dealership, you're instantly that person's gonna say, hey, here's the Carfax, and it's gonna come up on that. Or lease returns. I mean, when you're turning your vehicle in, you have some dents on it that you don't want to get destroyed on when you turn it in. You're going to get a big fine. You're going to pay a lot of penalties. So, if you go this route, and get them repaired before you turn them in, then you don't have to worry about paying that mega bill you're going to probably get because they're going to charge basically to repaint it and everything else.
Oh, sure.
So it's that way is the other plus side of even just the lease returns.
And when Tad goes to bed at night, he prays for a big ice storm the next day.
Yeah.
Go.
We got hail.
Yeah,
I got business tomorrow.
I got business for a long time.
That's why
you ran into a few of those.
It was all the hailstorms.
You ran into a few of those, right, Tad?
Absolutely. Yeah, some of them, I mean, they'll have 300-400 dents on a single panel.
That's got to be tedious.
It's very monotonous.
That's what happened to your hair.
Yes.
He tore his hair out from pulling dents. Sorry, I had to get that one in there.
Yep. Hey, no, I tried to blame it on my wife, but no, it's actually the dents.
Yeah, don't blame it on your wife. You'll never live that one down.
Yeah. You're married and you have a young daughter, right, Tad?
Married, have a 6-year-old daughter. Yep.
6-year-old. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That's over. They're getting independent then. So
she keeps us on our toes. There's no doubt.
Well, wait till they hit teenage years, you know.
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh yeah, you have one of those, don't you?
Oh yeah, I got one teenager left and one coming up. So, and then the other two are older than that. But you know what, Tad? One last thing. I think you answered this. I know a long time ago the insurance didn't want to deal with the as far as I remember, I could be wrong, but they wouldn't cover dentless repair. But you said they pretty much do now.
Absolutely. We work with insurance companies all the time, because
awesome.
Ultimately they're going to want to, insurance companies want to save everything they can. So if they can, save anything by doing it this route, then they're more than happy.
Cheaper. It's a lot cheaper. Yeah.
I'll work with your insurance adjuster or agent or whoever with you to help you through the process, even to make it a lot easier. Cause not everybody has to deal with this ever, I mean, it's confusing for some people, they don't know which step to even take. So yeah, we'll talk to you and talk to your adjuster and if you choose to go the insurance route way and, get it all taken care of.
That's awesome.
I wish you would have sent the picture of your tools.
Yeah.
They're different.
They're just they look like a bunch of medieval torture devices. Now they're
it is for the car.
And it is kind of funny. I've had multiple people who think, I'm working on a door, right? So I'm kind of tools down into the door. And, I had one lady pulled over off the side of the road, was threatening to call the cops.
Yeah. Thought you were breaking into the car.
Yeah.
That's when he turned around with the tools and just stand up to her. It's like, what did you say?
Right. So yeah, it's kind of funny to look at, people get kind of confused when they see what the heck I'm doing, but it's usually the case. They're like, oh, did somebody lock the keys in the car? No.
It's great. Hey, Bree, I want to get back to you real quick. Plans for the future for
lots of things. We have a lot of new product coming out over the next 5 years, a really big product lineup.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, and Eva, how about the riding and stuff? Plans for that future, women's riding?
Oh yeah. I don't know if I want to go above 30 women. I think that's a lot. Yeah. We'll see how this season goes. We have, like I said, 15 on each team and 6 rounds. So I think that's a lot to handle. We have some other programs and initiatives that we're going to launch in North America. Some of them are women's focused, but I'm not ready to announce them.
Okay.
Some of them are for the gentlemen. Don't want to forget them. But we have a lot of stuff happening in the coming future.
Bree, 2 quick questions. If a woman is good enough, can she race with the guys?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but a lot of
let's face it, most of them can whop the guy's butt anymore.
Sure.
So
yeah.
There's a couple of things. Is a lot of the women that we had, last year had most of them had never raced before in any capacity. So that's the part of it is we teach them to build, we train them to race, and then they race. I think the program is going to evolve over time, so we'll always have like a 3-year rotation. So women will rotate out and hopefully they'll become pro racers in the series. But some of our flat track ladies, their times on their stock motors could qualify for production twins. And those guys have, souped up motors. So absolutely. Yeah. And that's the idea, to give them the base for them to grow.
Sure. Another question. When you're in India, how do the Indians treat the Americans? Do they like it? They like it?
I'm a lot taller than a lot of people over there, so I think that I stick out like a sore thumb.
They're all English, so they speak English, right?
They do, yeah. And I have a lot of tattoos, so I usually stick out.
That's all right. There's nothing wrong with that.
That's probably against their religion now, I can imagine. I would imagine.
So 20% of Indians are Christians, which a lot of people don't know. You have Hindus, you have Muslims, there's so many different religions in India. I think so that's another like misconception about India. Also, depending on what region you're in, people are a lot different. So there's, I don't even know, thousands of different languages that are spoken, their native language, but most of them do speak English.
But you know what? It seems like motorcycling in any country is still the same. People are going to hop on and ride. And that's what all that matters. And it's, it doesn't matter what nationality you are, where you're from in the country. You get on that bike and you're all one. I mean, it's the same thing with the cars. You're all one people, and that's the fun part of it. And I can't imagine going to a different country and enjoying that.
It is. If you ride a Royal Enfield in India, you feel like royalty.
Yeah, I bet.
I think the motorcycle sales are going to go up, especially with these gas prices right now. You're getting, how many miles do you get to a gallon in a Royal Enfield? 50, 60?
I think it's 70 miles to a gallon.
70. I get like 50. I get like 50 on my Harley. So 70 miles to a gallon. Yeah.
I think a lot of this is going to start leveling out. I mean, politics aside and all this other crap that's going on. Once this gets settled down, I think everything is going to start going up and it's going to settle out, and we're going to be pretty satisfied with sales going up and that. Larry, last questions for Bree.
I really don't have any last questions other than to congratulate her. She stuck to it when I think a lot of people in the very beginning with Royal Enfield may not have stuck with it. And she's done a terrific job, brought the brand forward, and now it's starting to become mainstream. So congratulations to you, Bree, and to Royal Enfield.
We're going to round of applause for Bree. Here we go. And Bree, how can people get a hold of you? Say it one more time.
They could go to royalenfield.com.
There you go. And
plain and simple.
Tad, future plans for your business. So you are a long timer in the dent repair. You could probably do it with your eyes closed now.
Right.
Behind your back with your martial arts tools and whatever that is. And future plans for you.
Future plans, just keep on plugging away. I enjoy just doing it on my own. It's kind of nice just being me out there doing it. Just continuing what I'm doing and keep on fixing the dents.
And
I got a little job for you, Tad. Look behind me.
There's the rest of your career back there.
I see that wagon up in there. I keep looking at.
I keep looking.
Tad had a really nice wagon there.
I'm gonna say there's an old sitting up on the top right by your head.
The other way?
Yeah, it's definitely an old back end, and there's anyway, I kept looking at that too. Thanks, Rick.
Couple dents in those.
Yeah.
One or two.
Yeah.
Again, how can people get a hold of you, Tad?
They can get a hold of me. It's Mosquito Lake PDR.com, or you can go 234-806-6878. Or you can just Google it, Mosquito Lake Dent Repair, and it'll have a link right to my website.
And again, cheaper. Go aheid, Rick.
Which city you live in, Tad?
I'm in Cortland.
Okay, so if someone wanted to come to your house, just go to Cortland then.
Yep. Yeah, like I said, I can go to them or they can come to me. 90% of my stuff is mobile, so.
Okay, that's good. And you know what? For you guys that are looking at getting some body work done and stuff, that's way cheaper. And the big thing is less time. You got the dents, how much time does it take?
I need some body work.
No, you can't polish a turd, Rick.
You can't do anything with this one, but that.
Yeah, there's too many dents in that body there.
Oh, yikes.
It's an antique.
Yes, it is.
We're going to wrap it up here. We wanted to thank Bree Poland from Royal Enfield Motorcycles.
Thanks, Bree. Thank you very much.
Jablonski from Mosquito Lake Dent Repair. We're glad to have you here. And for the infamous Larry Ward
Yay, Larry.
The dented antique Rick Guerrera that we cannot repair. I'm Greg Roden.
Do not repair. Hey,
we will see you
down
the road.